Good afternoon, everybody on YouTube. This is Rick Thomas from Obsolete Video Services. Hey guys, this is another Panasonic M2 video tape format, which I spoke previously in other videos. A very bizarre video format that's VHS cross from VHS and a higher quality Beta cassette or Betamax or whatever you want to call it. It's very similar to the Beta Cam SP that kind of wiped this unit out. But anyways, this sort of was a one-off deal for Panasonic, and it's called the M2. We did service one for this customer. We did post that video. Well, we got this particular unit. Yesterday I just got done doing a lot of the repairs on this. Can't really test it at this point. I'm waiting on some drive motors and a couple things that were burnt out on this thing that somebody messed with, and he ended up ruining the motor on it, which loads this actual mechanism. But we do have several parts on order. Should get them probably on Tuesday. It's a local supplier, so it won't be so very, very hard to get the parts for this. But anyways, there's some parts I'm still waiting on and should have in the next day or two. But we did get the preliminary on this machine, and we got the loading carriage fixed, which was a disaster as always. The mechanism and everything I went through and got it about halfway done. We will post up a following video of it working. But anyways, this is an M2 AG65 or AU-65. This is the video recorder. This is the recorder unit. The previous video I posted was the player only. This was more of the higher end unit, the recorder unit. Cosmetically, it's in great shape. It did take a little bit of bouncing around with the way the people shipped it, which wasn't all that great. I hate when people remove side panels. It just drives me nuts. But the back of it's in relatively good shape. Always the back of these units, and most of the time, sometimes you get the front panels completely smashed in because they're very heavy. And like I keep telling people, you don't box this stuff really, really well, it's going to get damaged. But then again, I learned on these machines, which I will do on the return, this thing would be wrapped like a damn Santa Claus before I ship it in a box to protect the back and front of it. Because this is a pretty rare machine, and there's not many of these around, and you sure want to minimize the damage on these machines. But anyways, this is an M2, and very heavy. It comes with side handles on both sides. We got it. We did the preliminaries. I did quite a bit of work on it yesterday. I can't actually complete it until I get those the motor drive and some spindle stuff that I had an order on this that's really screwed up on it, which is under mechanism repair. So we still got to do that, and then we'll actually be able to get it online and play some tapes and see how far it's come since I serviced it. Like the other unit, this thing was dead in the water. Everything inside of it was frozen, locked in place. Everything, the entire mechanism. I got the upper mechanism freed up and all done. I still have to do the lower. But these machines take a while. It takes between 4 and 6 days to service a deck like this because it's got a lot of movable parts. They've been sitting for 20-something, something odd years. They haven't been used since like the early 90s. So it needs a complete overhaul. When I do a Panasonic M2, I do a complete overhaul of the mechanism, so it gets it back to the way it was when it was new. But if they're not damaged and if they're not smashed in and if the loading carriages ain't destroyed beyond repair, these decks can be serviced. I've serviced lots of these over the years. Maybe, let's see, I serviced a lot of these back in the early 2000s, and I think my last one I had was in about 5 years ago, and now I recently just got 2 of these now. So, I mean, I know this machine very, very well. And so mechanisms and what it needs, I know I can get through it probably between 4 and 5 days of little work on it, a little at a time, because it is a daunting task to work on one of these because of the design of the mechanism. It's a monster, folks. It's got tons of moving parts. It's just not an easy deck to work on, and it's very, very heavy. So you do have to move it around, tip it upside down, tip it on its side. You got to get to certain parts on the machine to actually service this unit, especially on the bottom. But anyways, this is a very nice unit. It actually has, as you can see, you got your color adjustments and color playback on your chroma and video levels down on this bottom level. You can adjust your inputs and all that, audio inputs and stuff on the front of the unit. And basically, the door tips up on its side like that. It's a very, very nice unit. As you can see, it's a very highly professional. This was a studio deck that would go on racks and TV stations. Let me let you know this. Every television station anybody I've ever talked to could not stand this format. It's the biggest piece of crap ever designed, and I'm serious. But the biggest problem was, I think, it's because they used Ampex tape stock. Now, Ampex tape stock, and it really does look like that's what this is, was a tape stock that was shed very badly. It was a very, very poor tape stock, and I believe it was mostly Ampex tape stock that they used when they manufactured a tape stock for these. I think Ampex was the one who actually made the cassette loading stock for this. And don't forget, it only lasted a year or two, so a lot of the other tape companies like TDK and 3M and stuff, they didn't even manufacture tapes for this. I mean, it wasn't many tape stocks available, and since this was pretty much Ampex tape stock, I'm pretty sure of it, it would clog the heads on this unit like crazy. So you have to clean the heads on this thing like a mother every time you turn around. And so it's not an easy format to run. You do have to clean tapes constantly, clean video heads constantly, especially if you do a tape recovery that happens to be on tapes like this. This is a tape deck that has to be maintained constantly. Video heads, your head have to be cleaned. The tapes have to be cleaned. The unit has to completely be serviced and broken down and redone, like I'm doing on this one. So anyways, we have another M2 AU-65. This is the actual recorder. This one's in pretty decent shape. I did do a little bit of work the other day on it, and I'm still waiting on parts. So stay tuned for the complete restoration of this M2. I hope you enjoy this video.